Alright, this is for Unit 2.2 that we're studying. Division is fractions. As you can see the first slide up here, this is why fractions are very, very confusing, especially with using Common Core concepts for it. More can be learned about Common Core concepts using division as fractions by going to learnzillion.com. They have many wonderful videos that will actually help out. But when we look at this, it's very different than some ways that people know how to do things. These are all separate ways in which you can actually find the problem. 4 divided by 3 equals 4/3, or 1 and 1/3. There's a division expression which would just be 4 divided by 3. The unit form would be, if you broke this all down, you'd really realize that you have 12 thirds. Split each box into thirds. 3, 6, 9, 12. You really have 12 thirds divided by 3 equals 4/3, which is what this is really when we're talking about. Here's 3 groups. There's 4 in each group, 4/3, and 1 box but 1 left over is 4 boxes if they're in thirds with 1 and 1/3. So improper fraction is 4/3, mixed number is 1 and 1/3. And then there's the standard algorithm, and of course you can draw this. And this is where it becomes very confusing. So for the purpose of what we're going to do today, we're going to look at it just kind of using a couple different models so it doesn't become as much confusing. The main model that we're going to be using is a tape diagram. So a tape diagram is just simply as easy as it sounds. So here I have the problem 3 divided by 9, and that's what fractions really are. Fractions really are simply, if I have a 3, my fraction bar is my division sign, and 9 is my divisor. Dividend, fraction sign, the fraction bar is my division sign, and then the 9 is my divisor. That's really all this is. Like if I was going to write 4/5 as a fraction, it would look like this. Very simply, if I wanted to get a fraction. But if I wanted to draw it using what's called a tape diagram, what I would do is I would take my 3/9, and simply I would just draw a box. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's very simple. And that's my whole unit. This is one whole tape diagram. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it up into my 9, because that's my total parts. If this was a fraction, it would be 3/9. The 9 is my total parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's 9. And I know it doesn't look perfect, but there's 9. There's 9 separations of parts in my tape diagram. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now I look at my fabulous dividend here, and it says the number 3, so I would shade in 3 boxes. And that's a visual representation of a fraction 3/9, which is 3 divided by 9. Here's 4 divided by 5. If I want to change that into fraction, dividend, fraction bar stands for my division sign, and my 5 is my divisor. Same concept. And draw me a tape diagram. Look at the total number of parts, which is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's my 5th. And I would shade in 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's a visual representation of a fraction. Same thing for 3 divided by 2, but this is where it becomes a little different than here. The difference here is that my dividend, or my, is larger than, my divisor is larger than my dividend. So here I have 3. I'm going to draw it as a visual representation. Here's my tape diagram. If I drew it as a fraction, it would look like this. And because it looks like this, I see that my top number, my numerator, is larger than my denominator, which makes it an improper fraction. So if I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, okay, well, my denominator, which is my bottom number, tells me that I have to split it up into two parts. If I shade them all in, I'm not at 3 yet. So what I have to do is I have to make another tape diagram that's the same size, 2 parts, and I shade in 1. So now what I have is I have 1 whole tape diagram, and I have still 2 parts, but I only have 1 shaded in, which makes this a mixed number of 1 and 1/2. The same thing here. I have these numbers here. If I take 4 divided by 2, makes 4/2. If I draw it as a tape diagram, once again, here's my diagram. And now I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. Okay, so I shade in the first one. Well, that's 1 and that's 2. I'm not at 4 yet. So again, it's got to be the same size, 2 parts, because that's what my denominator tells me. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. But this is 1 whole, and this is 1 whole. So my answer has to be 2. If I take 5/2, same concept. Split my tape diagram up into what my denominator says, which is 2. Oh, and I'm only at 4 now, so I have to do 1 more. I shade that in. I have 2 wholes, and I have 1/2, which gives me the answer of 2 and 1/2. That's how we're really looking at it. This is how we take and look at the simple fact that fractions, you can go from this, which can be very confusing, to just visual representations using tape diagrams to figure out what fractions are. And fractions really are division of a numerator by a denominator. There will be more lessons for this unit. There will be a review, I believe, on Wednesday, January 13th, and then the test will be on the 14th. There should be more videos up on my YouTube channel this evening. So, enjoy. It's fun. It's always fun to draw. See? Fun.